I've been like working on this since we stopped yesterday, and
Have you slept?
yeah, I've slept, but I just like 3 minutes ago before we started, after making like a ton of changes, I ran it and it worked almost perfectly, and I laughed because it was like usually that doesn't happen, right? So I just got it in under the wire. There's one thing we have to fix still. Let me show you what changes we've done since part one.
Okay.
So part one, there have been actually a fair amount of changes. If you look over here in the Solution Explorer, two new classes have arrived. One is called a File Change Manager, and another one is a File Change Group. I needed this to kind of hold on to things so we could do some evaluation, so we could make some good decisions as we were making changes.
Okay.
The File Change Manager is actually very simple. It's simply got a it's descends from a dictionary of files indexed by string, a file change group. This index is going to be the file name. So for each file, we'll have a file change manager. And it has one method in it called apply changes, where it takes the each of the file change groups. So it's going to iterate through all of those right here. Here you can see this. It also creates its own file change collection. Right, we saw that yesterday, and we've seen that before when we're creating when we're creating plugins that make changes to multiple files. We want to use a file change collection. So it creates one of those. Then it's going to go through. It makes a call to remove overlapping references. Remember, we had that problem yesterday at the end where it looked like we had corruption. We made changes.
That's
we had
right.
the same reference. Well, we've got a new method here called remove overlapping reference. It's going to get rid of those. So it's going to get rid of that corruption. We're going to, as the file change group, well, let's look at inside it, and we'll come back to this in a little bit here. So file change group looks a little scary at first. However, most of what it is essentially is it's either some file change collections or it's some dictionaries of things that we're keeping track of. Like before, we would just make it, remember we found all the references and we would make changes. Then we realized, well, we're going to have to make some decisions depending on the type of the reference and also what's around it. So it could be, for example, if it was an import statement like this, well, we had to go through and see all the types that were in here to see what we needed to do there. If it was a qualifying reference, like, let's see, I don't think I have any in this code that are examples, but it essentially looks like this: A.B, oops, A.B.C.E, whatever like that, dot, my type, dot something, some call or whatever, like that. Right? If it's that, here, it would be like, actually the better example would be new.
So it's kind of an inline namespace reference, isn't that?
Right. If it's like this, that's a qualified reference right there. So we call that qualified. These are the qualifiers to the type. If it's that, then we have to make another decision, another choice on it. Okay?
Okay.
So most of what file change group is essentially it's just intelligently collecting these things. Okay? And then I did some refactoring on it, so we've got some efficiency, so you don't see a duplicated code in here. So that's kind of what's going on here. I don't know if I want to go into a lot of detail on this. I think I'm just going to call this is baked. And if we want to, we'll step in. If there are questions, we'll step in. But essentially, this is baked. And I just started making some changes. I just finished making changes in this file. This is the big one that I was making changes to. And then I promise you we'll go back in here to explain more. But before we do that, let's go back over to plugin 1. I want to show you the other big area of change, and that is in this method, synchronize all namespaces. Before, we would just go for each, and we used to have something where we were adding a file change piece on there. Now I've got some logic that comes in here and asks a question, what exactly is this we're doing? One of the things I've got in here that's interesting is I've got the reference. I get a call to get parent, so each language element, so references of type language element, there it is right there. Each language element has a call get parent. We've used this in the past where you can pass in an enum of the type you're looking for the parent. So I'm just passing in language element type.namespace reference. This will go up the hierarchy, when I say the hierarchy, so if you imagine this element right here, the hierarchy here is, well, it's parented by the if statement. The if is parented by the for each. But back in that other example, go ahead.
This is not like inheritance. This is enclosing blocks, effectively.
Exactly.
So a class sits within a namespace, a method sits within a class, similar to that. So we will keep going up the the outer boxes, so to speak, the containers, as you look at it in code, looking for an item of the type you're saying.
Exactly. And we're just going up so we can see, finally get to this one right here, a namespace reference. The idea is if we're here, we're going to go up, 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 up. Notice which one of these corresponds to. This one corresponds to DevExpress. This one is DevExpress.CodeRush. This one is DevExpress CodeRush Core. This one is the full piece. So this is just how these namespace reference. Each one of these is a namespace reference, right? You've got a reference to the DevExpress namespace. It's a namespace. That's a namespace. That's a namespace. And that's a namespace.
And the reason it's that way around is because core on its own doesn't make sense. You have to have DevExpress is an item, as you said, DevExpress.CodeRush is an item, and DevExpress.CodeRush.core is an item.
Right. And the other reason
makes sense the other way around.
Right. The other reason this makes sense is that if I want to rename DevExpress, I can do that, and I can find it everywhere, right? I can get that reference and find it everywhere and rename it. Okay?
Sure.
Okay. So what we're doing is that call is going up to get to the point where we see this, namespace reference. That's what this thing is. A namespace reference is an import or a using, okay? And that's what the expressions lab is showing us here. So if we go back to that code that I was at, let's see if I got the marker. I did. Okay. So what this is doing is just checking to see if it's not null. If it's not null, we know what the type that this thing is. And we know that it's a namespace reference. Special case. And I just wrote this code. This code is like minutes old. It's super fresh, right in front of you right here. And the essence of what we're doing here is, well, one of the things we're doing is we're tracking the types that, here, let me show you this. Types found. So remember that call to get mismatched namespaces? This was the very first thing we wrote yesterday. It went through and it found all of the namespaces that were different from what the expected namespace was.
Sure.
I added a little bit of code in here to track the types found inside of here. And so what's going on here now is if, and it's a dictionary indexed by file name. So if the type is already there, we go on. Otherwise, we add the type to it as we go through. So here, let me back up a minute here. We're on the outside of this. We're going into I added this call right here is what I added. So this code, I mean, rather. So we used to be here. So then what I did is this. So we're iterating through all namespaces in the file. Okay. In most files, it'll just be one. But then I added this, all types. For all types declared in that namespace, okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to check, well, is the visibility of it private? If it is, I don't care, because we're not going to be able to see it outside of this file. But if it is, actually, you know what? That is not, I'm taking that out. The reason I'm taking that out is I just realized we could have references to this namespace inside of the project itself, in which case we would be able to see that. So I'm gonna kill that line of code. I was originally thinking this was going to be it was going to save us, because if it was a private visibility, we weren't going to see that outside in other projects, which is true.
Can you have a private class outside of another class?
Oh, you know what? You're right. It's internal, isn't it?
So it shouldn't exist at all.
You're right. So
at least not within there.
So there you go. This right here, proof that, you know, it's all facade. I'm essentially an idiot. Just kind of,
but in fairness, that would continue to work even if another language that we ended up supporting wouldn't introduce that possibility and make it meaning for it.
And that's why I love you, Roy. That's why you're here, to save my butt, right? I am an idiot, but I'm surrounded by giants, right? Becker, Skorkin, Zaharoff, everybody is like surrounding me, propping me up, making me look like, you know, the puppet, you know, that I am, the awesome puppet that I'm, you know. All right, so anyway.
Yeah, okay.
So, all right, so 4 hours later, and so that concludes the story of Puppet and Miller. And anyway, all right, so okay, so we didn't need that line of code, so we just got rid of it. And yeah, you know, sometimes I think that, right? I think, oh, okay, well, it's private is what I was saying, but no, of course, it's internal, not private. We create a reference searcher. We find all references, and we're going to make the solution be the scope of that type. Okay, so here we go. All types in the namespace. We're going to find all references to all those types. Then we're going to go through all those references. We're going to get the file name. We're going to see if types found. contains that. Remember, types found is indexed by the file name. If it's not, we're going to add a new entry, and that file name is going to have a list of types. And then we get to, if it's already in the list, we're going to just continue. We don't need to add it. But otherwise, we're going to add it, that type to the list.
So this is to make sure we don't add more than one, well, you're not adding type declaration, so more than one partial class, I assume, will not get added to this list.
Well, I just, you know, I wasn't thinking partial classes so much. I was just thinking, seeing another, yeah, you're right. It would be another type, maybe in another namespace in another file that would come through, yeah, is the idea. But the idea is we want to basically say, where are we by file? So here's what we're doing now. So we come in here, we see we've got an import, then we check to see if we have some types for this file name, the reference file name. So this is the file we're going to change, right? If we have types found in here, then we come down here, we go to each declaration in there, and then we check to see, we're essentially going to go down here and we're going to say, oh, we need to, new imports needed, it's just a list of strings, we're going to add the expected namespace there to it, okay?
Okay.
I should also do a check. Oh, no, wait, I don't need to do a check. And then I say already handled imports. This is just this local list of type declarations, and I add to it just so I don't add it more than once. Okay? So then new imports needed is a string list, and that'll have all the expected pieces in there. So what's going to happen is this. Remember that cars example where we had Ferrari and cars? You know what? Let's just set a breakpoint and run it. We'll run it, and we'll see it. It'd be better to just kind of see it, step through this, and you'll see what's going on here.
Sure, yeah.
Now, this is getting kind of exciting. It's almost done. There's one problem that I saw just at the last minute, and I was like, not sure how I'm going to fix that, but hopefully it'll be a few minutes. So you'll actually see that bug fix live. Okay. So open up our sync test folder. And what's cool is once it's fixed, this feels like it's like got a lot of edge cases solved, edge case bug issues solved. And it feels like a product that a lot of people, or a feature that a lot of people are going to like. So here we go. We're in cars. Remember we did this last time. And what happened was over in unqualified references, this became cars.sports, and automobile factory didn't compile anymore because this was just over here in the root. Let me bring up solution sports so you can see it. Automobile factory is right
so
there.
So yeah, what you did before is automobile, wasn't it Ferrari that changed?
Yes. Ferrari.
So
this
Ferrari changes from cars to cars.sports. And
right.
You accidentally went off and changed the using statement from cars to cars.sports, which was great for Ferrari, but caused automobile factory to fail.
Right. So that's
that
the
was
fix.
The previous behavior.
That's the code we're looking at. So let's trigger the breakpoint and look at it. Synchronize folder names. Oh, I set this here. Whoops. Let's get rid of that. Well, I don't know. I set this here because I wanted to show this. Let me just run through it, and then we'll undo that breakpoint. Run it. Then we'll undo it. And let's do it one more time. And I'll be very fast at selecting it so we don't get that crap at the top. Okay, so I wrote this code here because I wanted to show people what's happening. This is in the other half of this. So if import is null, that means we're working with an import. Otherwise, we're in the else. If reference is a type reference expression, that means it's a qualified reference.
Okay, yeah.
Let me just come up here just so that we're very clear. In this half, this is a namespace import / using. Okay?
Yep.
So we're import using it there. Otherwise, we've got a qualified reference. So we're here. And here's the problem here. So let's see what's going on. I just want to look at the code. I wrote this earlier this morning. The type reference. I see what's going on here. Okay, so what we're doing here, this is the code. This code comes and gets a type reference from the reference itself, and this code here is essentially going up the parent and checking to see if it's not a detail node, and then returning it or returning null if we don't find it. And let me show you the example of what this is. So if I type in a dot, actually this is real one. I'm going to have to get real code here, I think here. Let's do, let's grab a namespace, find a namespace in the list here. Come on, what is it, system? Here we go, system dot io dot path dot something there. the local, and now let's put the character over here, bring up the expression lab, and I'll show you how this code is working here.
Oh, I think your microphone maybe just fell down.
Oh, you know what? I was facing off to the side. My microphone isn't. Let me see if I can move it to a better place. Give me 1 minute here. Excuse me, sound crap. Okay, there. How's that? That's probably better, I bet, right? Is it better?
That's pretty good, yeah.
Okay, good.
That's good. Yeah, yeah.
All
right.
Good. So I've just written this code over here. We're in edit and continue. Let's move this over. Let's get rid of this. Okay, so we're going to do, if we start with, we're about here is where we are, right? This is going to be, imagine we have source code to the system.io and we're going to rename the IO namespace. So it comes down here and gives us a reference here. And we look at this and we say, come over here, where are we? We're right there. And what we do is we're checking, we're going up, going up, going up, and we're trying to find a detail node. Okay, we're checking to see if the parent is type reference expression. Sorry, is what we want to do. And so we're going up. That's not. It's an element reference. No, it's not. It's also not a detail node because of the color. The detail nodes are in blue. Go up again. No, it's not. Go up again. And the answer is, oh, wait a second. We have an element reference expression. I thought we were like, maybe I got to look at the code. I was expecting that to be a type reference expression. System IO path. Separator character. Let me look at the code a second and see if I'm totally giving the parent, if the parent is type reference, and then we keep going up if it's type reference. Sorry, my bad. Let's try again. So where is that type reference expression? There's the type. That's the char. Did I only? Maybe I've got a bug in here that it's not going to work off to the side. That's odd to me that that's not showing up. That should totally be a type reference expression. I also am wondering if it has something to do with us not having source code to it. That's a little bit weird though. I think one of two things are happening. Either, yeah, I'm totally expecting this to be a, let me make sure the class name is what I'm expecting it. Qualified element reference.
You do have a type reference expression if you keep going higher.
You're talking about that?
I know, one stage higher again.
Yeah, at this point we're out. We're out of it, totally out of it. We're like in the method. This is the method right here, and it returns type reference expression. Yeah, so I'm a little bit confused by that. Let me close this down, and we'll try the same thing in the running code. We'll run it, and we'll see what my assumptions were over there, and then we'll come back to this code. So we'll run it. And let's go over into, let's undo it a second. Let's go over into my qualified constructor. This is where I was looking at this. And let's say, let's see. I have a feeling this is going to work correctly here. And we'll see if I made a mistake with my assumptions here. Okay, so over here, type reference expression. There you go. So on the other side, so let's go duplicate that other code we had. We had system.io.path, like that. So if I come in here and I say new, which is probably not legal code because it's, already you can see we got a problem here. But let's see what this looks like. Type reference expression. Okay, so, and here we go. Type reference, boom. So that's kind of what I was looking for. But now what happens if I come in and I say dot the other, it does not call this a type reference anymore, does it? You might have a problem with the code. It might have to look for this one as well. So it looks like, yeah, it's all element reference expressions is what this is. I wonder why that's a distinction. That almost looks like a question for, this could be a bug, is what I guess I'm saying. Oops, this is wrong right there. Our local. Yeah, element reference expression. Okay, so yeah, it looks like if we have something that looks like this, let's try this. Cars.ferrari wheel count equals 4. Let's declare that. Okay, so now we have a static property in here, and now what I want to do is I want to run it again and see if this piece changes. Because I have a feeling this won't change, and it means we're going to have to write some code for that. So looks like that's my sense is what we're going to have. We'll have a bug there. All right, let's run it. Oops, not there. There is the availability point, synchronizes folder names. So I'm going to skip past this, and we'll. Ooh, we have a don't expect to be here. This is the other case right there. So that's so we've just found the other case. What is reference at this point?
Yeah.
It's an element reference expression. Okay, so we need to write some code that's somewhat similar to this code block of code you see right here. Well, a second, I'm taking off my jacket. I'm wondering if we can simply use this code right here. Let's stick it in here and just see what happens if we run through it. So all I did is I just said change execution to here instead of down here. And let's see what happens. Type reference is null. Oh, of course, because this code isn't going to work anymore. Mm-hmm. So let's change some code. Let's copy this and, oops, not there. Let's come back over here, and let's say this. If type reference is null, then I'm going to kind of paste this in here. But you know, we never get to a type reference out of that, though, do we? What do I use this for? Let's see. What do I use? Oh, I call get declaration on it. I'm going to have to do I'm going to have to find it a different way. So let's do this. Roy, I'm hearing some microphone noise over there. I don't know if it's you or Amanda.
Possibly.
All right. Yeah, you sound actually very close to the mic. Okay, so let's. So we can duplicate the code by coming in here and typing this in here, right? System.io.path dot directory separator char. So I'm just creating some code here, and I'm going to go bring up the expressions lab. We'll take a look at this. We'd love a larger monitor around now. So let's get rid of these. This is all this I copied in here, and we want to see where we are in this list here. Over here. Okay, and there we are right there. So system.io. Okay, so we basically want to get to here. This is what we wanted to get to, and this is going to give us the full-on name. Is what it's going to give us. So we kind of want to go. I think it looks like this. I would love to. You know, I should have locked that right there. So if we get to an interesting point, like here, that's what I'm trying to get to. It's just element reference, and I'm going to check each parent and make sure the parent is not a detail node. Once I get to a parent that is a detail node, then I've got it's no longer part of the path to it. Okay, so
yeah.
So I'm going to do that, and then the other thing I need to do is once I get that, then I have to go back through its children to get the full name. System.io.path is what I need to do, and then once I'm there, I have what I think is it's a reference to it. So this is going to be the reference to the class, to the type. Okay, that'll be a type reference. Okay, so this looks to me, by the way, so can we do a note for this? And Alex Corkin, I think you're watching. This feels like, I think I would maybe call this a bug, but you know, I want to defer to our parser devs to see what they think about this. But system.io.path, I would not expect it to be an element reference expression. I would expect that to be a type reference expression because we're accessing, it's a type reference, clearly. That's how Visual Studio is highlighting it. Okay? So we're going to work around that for now and do it and do this by writing code to handle that. So, oh shoot, I forgot to lock it. So to lock it, what is it? I want to take it out of sync. So which one of this is? Is it so attributes, so detail nodes? This one, track caret. So that should now allow me to move through while keeping this move through the code while keeping this view. And I was wrong. All right. Sometimes funny things happen when we're doing the show.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So did I jump? Where did I jump? Did I jump far, far away? Here it is right here. That's where I am. Okay, so I'm going to essentially go off of my memory on this thing. So let's close this thing down. So we have the reference. So we're going to say if reference.parent is not null, and
Mark,
reference,
just before you go too far, are you already in the type reference expression version? I thought you were going to copy this to the next section before making amendments.
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking is the reason why is once I get to type declaration, this code's all the same. So I'm gonna kind of put it here, and then I will. Yeah, you're right. I should maybe put it in the other part, but I kind of want to avoid this duplicated code too. I'm going to put it here for now because we're edit and continue. Then I'm going to pull out into its own method that says get the type declaration from the reference is what I'm going to do, and it's going to use one of these pieces is what it's going to do. Okay.
That's cool.
So that's kind of my intention, but thanks for that. Okay. And we need the parent to be a isDetail node to be true, like that. And I'm going to say reference.parent is an element reference expression, like that. So if that's the case, and actually I don't want to work with reference, I want to say, I'll call this like parent reference, and that's a type of element reference expression. And I'm going to say that is equal to reference. So we have two bugs in here that we have to fix. This plus the other one I haven't shown you yet. So if all that's the case, then I'm going to say parent reference is equal to parent reference dot parent, and I'm going to change the if to a while. Like that. And now, what's going on here? Oh, as element reference expression. Actually, I don't even have to do an as because I already did the is up there. I know it's going to work. Okay. I do have to do it there, though. Okay, let's get rid of that. And so now put the caret, let's see. Type reference is null. Put the caret right here. Boom. Parent reference. Hold on. Is cars. Parent reference is still cars. Okay. So now I need to go down into, now that I have that, I need to drill into its children to get the full name because I'm looking for cars.ferrari or cars.automobile or something along those lines. So that's the next step. So what I think I'm going to do is construct this as a string, and I'm going to call getDeclaration to find the actual class as the fully qualified string name, since we don't, since we are not going to have a type reference on it. So so we'll say, let's do this. If parent reference is not null, then we're going to say the full type name equals string.empty. And then we'll say, let's bring up the watch window. And let's get rid of all this. Parent reference dot name is cars. All right. So we're going to say and say the parent reference dot name, oops, name, like that. So the full-time name is going to start with cars, and then I want to say child. Let's see, let's do this. Parent reference dot nodes. Yeah, I think I have a first child node. First child. There we go. And for local, call this child. While child is not null, and child dot is, actually we don't want it to be not a detailed node, and child, let's actually just see what happens here. And then what we want to do is come down here and we're going to say full type name plus equals dot plus child dot name, and then I want to say child, oops, child equals child dot, it's on the clipboard, but it's not, child dot first child. We're going to kind of loop down here to build a name. So let's see, where are we? We're right there? Okay. So parent reference is not null, so let's move execution here. Full type name starts as cars. First child, whoa, first child is null. Did I get this wrong? Is it, let's go bring in parent reference here. Maybe it's detailed node count is 0, and the node count is also 0. What did I do wrong?
Is first child referring to both detail nodes and nodes, or is it just one set of them?
It's just nodes. And there's another one called first, what is it? There's first child, and then there's first detail. Okay, so first details from the detail node list. So, you know, I've clearly messed something up. I'm going to get, I'm going to go back over here, and I'm just going to say, run, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at carefully to see what misunderstanding I have. I suppose I could go in and do it again up here. Let's maybe do this again here. So we're on cars. Let's actually write that. If I say cars.Ferrari, I can't do it here because it's not going to compile. But we'll go to system dot. We have a class here, valid cast exception dot. I don't know, something like that. Let's see what this thing turns out to be inside of the expressions lab. Let's clear that so we just see the pieces here. Oh, not in sync. Let's get it in sync. Okay. Oops, I need it back. Element reference, element reference. System is the namespace. Yeah, so that code should take me to here, get the parent. It's getting cars, which would be, it's not going to the parent, is I think the problem. I think the problem is in this code right here.
Yeah.
I think and the problem may be here. So let's go back up over here. The problem may be that I don't want it to be the parent. This should not be a detail node. I think that's my logic error. All right, let's come back here. Parent reference. And now let's see. Here, there we go. Now we got a parent. And now we're out. Parent reference is not null. Full type name is Ferrari. Child is not known. Child is not a detailed node. Then full type name is Ferrari.cars. Oops, it's the wrong way around. Is equal to child.name plus dot plus full type name. Let's go back up here again and run it one more time. Okay, now full type name, it starts at Ferrari, then it's cars.Ferrari, and we're out of the while loop. Now we have the full type name. So down here I got
if you've got a full type name, you can get type and pass through what you would have done anyway.
Yeah, now what I'm going to do is get to the declaration right here. And I think so here, type reference, I'm sorry, you know what, Rory, I'm sorry. If I have the full type name, then I can get the type. Is that what you said?
Yeah, effectively, you start off with an element reference expression, which you have changed into something which you can use to get a type reference expression,
right,
which is the third alternative you would have started with anyway.
And if I could extract method while stepping through code, I would do that. C# team, do you hear me? I want that feature. Okay, so all right, so we found the full type name. So what I want to do here is I want to take this declaration and I want to put it out. I want to bring it out up here. Type reference is null. We do go there. Otherwise, we're going to go here and we're going to say declaration is equal to this right there. And now we want to change this. We essentially want to say in this block right here, declaration is not null. many times do I get rid of an outer block when I'm coding, Lori? Have you noticed this? I want to.
Yeah.
I'm going to write a plugin some point in our future. Declaration. How is it? Okay, we're good. All right, just our parts hasn't caught up with us yet. Okay, so if declaration is not null, then we're down here. So now we've got. So at this point now, I want to get declaration. So I want to say declaration equals, and I think we got a CodeRush dot source dot. We've got to get declaration in here. There we go. Get declaration, and it's going to take a full-type name as a string, please. No? Wait, it's got a starting point. Oh, no, this works. So it just needs a starting point. And the reason why is because I could have the same type showing up multiple times, but based on visibility, that full-type name is located in 2 different places. So it needs a starting point to resolve that. The starting point we're going to resolve it from is actually the references start point. We'll just use that. So we're going to say reference.range.start. And then the second piece is the actual full-type name. So we come in here, full-type name. Looks like I need to move it outside of its scope out. Oh, come on. Type name. Full-type name. So we'll go right here. And let's go back up here. Let's ensure that this is initialized to null because there's a way it can not be, that we can get through here where we don't actually declare it. What do they not like here? Did I mess something up here? Element start. Oh, it's looking for just a starting element. Okay, fair enough. We can do that. Oh, wait. Source point start. Let's look at these one more time. Source point start string identifier. Oh, it returns an I element as type declaration. Okay, so there. So let's put the caret here. Full type name is cars.ferrari. Step. And it now is equal to declaration. Okay? So the only thing we need to do is this. I mean, right now we can say if reference is that or reference is element reference expression. If it's one of those two, then this code will run. Now I want to do an extract method on this after we're done to clean this up. And I may do that after we're done with the webinar. So now we come down here and say if declaration is not null, then now that we have the declaration, we see what the expected qualified namespace is. Because the expected namespace is the one we're changing, right? We're going through several passes, but one of the passes we're going through, we're changing cars to cars.sports because Ferrari, right? The declaration is on Ferrari, so the expected namespace should be cars.sports.
Yeah.
And it matches. However, I don't remember if we went through once or not, but the next one, if we've only gone through once, the next one we should stop right here. I'm just going to run it. We should see a break. Oh, we didn't see it. So let's go back and we'll step through one more time. We'll do it one more time, or we won't step through. We'll just see the breakpoint hit. And here, the declaration is now on automobile factory, right? And its file node is in the, I can't bring in solution support because we're in a breakpoint, but it's in the root folder for the project, which means it's going to need the default namespace. So now we're coming in here, we're still in that pass where we're saying the expected namespace is cars.sports, but the expected qualified namespace, because of this call here, is different. It's just cars because the automobile factory just needs cars, okay? And so because of that, now I can just clear out this piece now that I think that we're, oops, I can't do that. This always bugs me. What step? Okay, I just stepped out. Now I can do it. You mofos. Oh, sorry. Did I mean to say that? I didn't. Sorry, I have no idea what there was a glitch, an audio glitch. Sorry about that, folks. So now we change it to the expected qualified namespace, and then we go into file change group, and we add a qualifying reference change, passing in the reference and the expected qualified reference. Let's just step into that so you can see that code. This is code I wrote yesterday. Hold on, wrong place. There we go. Step inside of here. Add reference change. I'm passing in this field variable qualifying references. So we're going to change a reference in this method right here, and we're passing in the expected namespace, which is cars, as a string, and the namespace reference itself. So we go inside of here, and now we are going to make sure that that the references which are indexed by this key, by the expected namespace, we have that in there, and then we're going to just add that reference. And later on, we're going to use this. So later on, we're going to work with the this piece we passed in, which is the qualifying references. So we're going to use this later on. Ooh, remove overlapping references. We should also go look there as well. Let's go find that. Remove overlapping references. Whoops, references. Okay. So the breakpoint here and here. And we'll run. So you can see what's going on here. So we have that problem. So let's go over now into qualified construction and check it out. Beautiful.
That's good. Excellent.
See that?
Yeah.
See that, kids? That's like practically a demonstration of gravity still working. It's practically a demonstration of that. All right, so awesome. Also, over here, I don't think I stepped through the code. Wait, not there. In unqualified construction. Oh, no. What? This was just working a minute ago. I wonder if I've changed something here. We might want to take a look at that and see what's going on there. That's a little scary to me. That's totally been working. Did I just change it? Was the change I just made impact that? Let's undo, and we'll come over to. Hold on just a second. I'm going to. All right. Let's reload that. Let's close this down so we can see it. I'm going to do it one more time. I want to just for kicks, I want to see if the element reference expression, that doesn't make sense to me. Here, let's do this. Let's do this one step at a time. We'll fix that in a second. I want to step through and show you the overlap problem. Overlap problem doesn't exist in this one. It only exists in this one. Let's do it here. Okay. So here we go. A.B. Synchronize the folder names. We'll close this down here. What? That didn't work. Let's try one more time. Synchronize the folder names. Nothing's happening. What the heck just happened? Import is not null.
Well, we've been modifying the code that tries to get the element reference expressions working, but we did touch on the type declaration or the type reference expression stuff as a result of that.
Yeah. So here is. Yeah. So we did this. However, let's just do this. Let's set a breakpoint here, and we'll take out that code we just wrote and just see if any of this. Let's just take that part out right there, because that should be all we need, I think, to do with it, to work with it there. If it's null, and I guess we'll take out that block as well. So let's just see if doing something simple like that is going to get us back. No, so we have a problem somewhere else. Interesting. Okay, let's see what's going on with that. Let's go. I want to go back. Let me go back to kind of a starting point here. Let's go work with Ferrari a second. Synchronize the folder names. That one is definitely working there. It works here. We're seeing it there. In unqualified construction, it is not working. It's failing. So it's not changing the piece there. And in Ferrari, it did change it in Ferrari, so that works. So let's see what's happening here. Could it be that there's an exception? Oh, I bet there's an exception. What's happening. So let's do this. Let's set exceptions, break on exceptions. I bet you that's the problem. And see what happens here. Give me a breakpoint. Okay. Oh, wait, hold on. This is in document services. That's inside CodeRush core. So text file path. Interesting. What's that happening? Run. Check reference is null. Oh, here we go. There's the null ref right there. So now I need something here. No, no. So put execution here. And is this now going to fix the problems we have? Okay, there we go. Now we have the breakpoint here. Let me just run. Let me clear the breakpoint for a second. And let's undo. So we have an exception because of the code is not working now. So let me show you that because I want to show you how that's working, right? This is where we had that problem where we had that corruption.
That's right, yes. We had multiple replacements happening on the same line.
Yeah. And I want to just show you that code because it's kind of clever. And let's turn this off. Okay. We got this thing, but here's the, you know what, I'm going to do it one more time, but I'm going to do it before that thing appears. So here we go. 1, 2. Oh, shoot. Set the breakpoint. Come back. 1, 2. All right. So here's the code that says remove overlapping references. So it's going to, first of all, it's just collecting all the language elements in this dictionary. So this dictionary has to end in references. Wait, hold on a second. Hold on. References. Oh, yeah, there it is right there. Sorry, I wasn't reading the whole thing. So references is a dictionary indexed by string. Okay, so we're just going to go through all the keys in that dictionary and then go through all the language elements. It's a list of language elements. And then we're going to add all those. We're essentially taking all elements of that and adding it to a single list of language elements.
Okay.
Then we're going to iterate through all the elements in that. And we have 2 indexes running in this. One is called first index, the other one's called second index. And we're also iterating backwards, so it looks a little odd at first. By the way, there's a great CodeRush code provider called reverse for loop. There, I just did it. And so you can see here, now this is what it normally looks like, starting from 0 and going up to count -1. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do that again for our reverse for loop, so we'll bring it back the other way. Okay? So it's a really nice refactoring. It's really useful if you're removing things from a list. Right? When you're removing and taking things out of a list, then I can take them from the end as I process the list backwards. This one, the same thing is going on here, although, let me reverse this so it's a little easier to read. So here, we're going from first index +1 and just all the way up to the end. Okay, and so what's going on is we're essentially, this one's going all the way through all of them, and this is going from this index +1 to the remaining ones, and checking to see then if the first range contains the second range. And if it is, then remove the smaller one, the second one. Otherwise, if the second range contains the first range, then remove the smaller one, the first. And this call to remove reference just looks like this, where it's just going through finding, again, it's going through all the keys, trying to find it. If it finds it and removes it, then we're done and out.
Okay.
All right. So that's how I solved that problem. So this is, I want to reverse this for loop, so it's counting backwards, and then run, and so our breakpoints are out of there. Okay, so let's go back to that Ferrari problem and see what the heck's going on over in the Ferrari land. Let me do one more thing. I want to just go back here and I want to say break on exceptions one more time because I want to see if it's an exception that's maybe causing the problem. Maybe I'm just to verify that that's not the case. So come in here, synchronize folder names, skip past this one. No exceptions. Okay, so that's not the problem. Turn that off. Boom. Let's go back over here in the running example and unqualified construction. Wow. Yeah, this was all just working a moment ago, so I'm not sure what's happening. Let's undo. Okay, I'm in the factory for, oh, I didn't undo. There we go. There's the undo. Okay, so let's go step through the code and see what's going on with that. Okay, so it's in plugin 1. So our changes here did not interfere with that. So what we want to do is set another breakpoint here. Let me go back and put those changes back in again, since they did seem to be effective and work, and solve that another problem. Actually, wait a minute. Let me run it a minute. I wanted to see in qualified construction. Oh, because we didn't have that one line of code that's in there. First, that's sports.Ferrari dot wheel count. That was the thing that I wasn't. Oops, I want to go backwards. Ferrari dot wheel count. So I wheel count goes 4 like that. Let's go back and declare that one more time. So I lost this, and the reason I lost this is because I went to a zip file and unzipped and restored in the middle of this. You may have noticed the dialog that came up that said reload the project, and so that's why I lost it, because this is a new change that I've made since then. But now I want to go back in. Let's just verify. Let's go back over here, and we will add this code back in, and Ferrari, and synchronize folder names. Go back, put that code in. Okay, and I can keep this. I can keep this if statement there as well. Yeah, actually I don't need it because it's pretty clear because the other pieces on there. All right, so okay, so we'll run it, and now we should expect to see the wheels changing. And over in unqualified construction, oops, where was it? Qualified construction there. So there's the change. Okay, so now we have to figure out why the change here didn't occur. So let's look at that code, and we'll see what's going on there, and try to understand that bit. So let's undo again. Oops, not that far. There we go. And let's go back over here and look at the next piece here. So we have, yeah, we definitely need some more factoring here. So the import, this is the piece that we're interested in here. What's going on here for the import? So, so let's look at this, and we'll step through that code. Come up here in cars, synchronize the folder names. What? Undo. We didn't even stop here? That is surprising. Let's stop here. Let's set a breakpoint here. And come back and do it again. Synchronize the folder names. All right, let's run it. Breakpoint here instead. Undo. I'm going to be fast so I don't have that dialog up. Okay. So, so qualified construction, that's not the one we were worried about. We want the other one, that is unqualified construction. That's the one that has the reference in it. Still qualified construction. Still qualified construction. Seriously? No reference? It's like it's not finding this reference at all in unqualified construction. This may be not a bug in our code, but it may be an issue with the parser itself. Let's go. Yeah, interesting. I'm hitting tab here, and I'm not finding tab to next reference. Tab to next reference is not working. Let's drill in. Visual Studio can't find it. What's going on? Could it be, I don't know, referencing, this is referencing cars. Namespace cars. Tab, tab. Okay, hold on, let's get rid of sports right there. So undo to that. So tab, tab, tab. Tab. Oh, look at that. Yeah, it looks like we've got a parser issue right here. Let me do this. Let me get all of this and put it back in, and now see what happens. There we go. Now we found it. I bet it works now. So we'll come back in. We'll do it one more time. Go back over to Ferrari. Here's the folder names. And now I bet if I put my breakpoint in here, we'll get there. There we are. We're there now, finally.
Okay.
So if I just run it, then we should see an unqualified construction there. Boom.
There we go. Okay. So your code was good, but there was a momentary parser issue.
Yeah, let me show you that code so you can see it, because I think that's kind of interesting. So it's in here. If import is not null, I think I maybe showed you a little bit of this here. Now, maybe I didn't. So types found, I did talk about that, right? I said these are the types that we've already looked for and in that scan. And so what I'm looking now to see, and let's set a breakpoint here, and we'll do this again. Okay, so now if we get down here, there we go. We have so we're checking to see if types found, if we found any types in this file, unqualified construction. The answer is yes, we have, so we assign the value to it. We found 2 types. In fact, if we open it up, there they are, Ferrari and Automobile Factory, both found, right? And you'll recall that's what the code looks like, right? It has both of those in there. This call, prepare for tracking imports, is a very simple thing. It just makes sure that the handled imports, this dictionary, has a key for that file name. Okay, that's what's going on there. So let's get out of that. Let's get up 10. Already handled imports. With this call to get handled imports, it's just going to go in and get the handled imports for that file name. We're just checking to see what we've already done. There's new imports needed. There's a new list of strings. And then we're going to go through all these types that we found. We've got a type declaration. The first one's Ferrari. And so already handled imports is empty. So we're going to now, we'll add that type declaration to it in a moment. And then we're going to get the expected namespace of this file node. New imports needed. Okay. The one thing, every time I see this line of code, I trip up the same way. I think, oh wait, we want to make sure we don't add it twice. But then I realize, wait, we're already checking this list right here for the type declaration. So, oh wait, 2 types could be in a single file now. I think I do need to add the code. I do. So hold on a second. Let's introduce a local here. We'll call this expected namespace. And oops, it already occurs in here. Let's do a rename of this. We'll call this expected import. That's what we'll call this instead. And then we'll, just because I want to make sure it's not added twice. So if new imports needed dot index of expected import is less than 0, then we can add it. Okay, makes sense, Rory?
Yep. Yes, good so far.
All right. And then we get down to here, let's run it. And now new imports needed, count 3. What? I thought I already had.
You've got an if add it and then you add it anyway.
Oh. Brilliant. Thank you, Rory. So let's go back up here. And we will run this one more time. Also, let's go to here, actually, instead. We'll go boom, 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 and we'll run down to here. Now, new imports needed is 0. What did I mess up? What did I get wrong? Hold on. Let's go back up here one more time. Count is 2. Already handled imports. Oh, wait.
Did you not go back up a line far enough?
No, you know what the problem is I'm getting them from here, and I'm just getting a reference to it. I'm making changes here. So the problem is that we need to call clear on this. We need to come up here and clear it because it's seeing I've already handled it. So for this file, because it's going to go through a lot of different namespace references, imports clauses, and if I've already found it, I don't want to add, for the next import, I don't want to then re-add them again. So what I'll do is I'll come down here, we'll execute this line of code, then I'm going to come down and do add watch, and then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to call .clear, and that should solve it for us. Okay, good. So delete that, and now count is 0. Now run, and now my new imports needed is 2 strings in it, cars and imports. Okay. Then I just go in here and I go for each one. I'm going to call add new import, which is going to, let's set a breakpoint here, we'll run into it, and it's going to call CodeRush language generate element, and it's going to create a new namespace reference passing in the namespace name, car.sports. So when I execute that line of code, we get this, using car.sports with a semicolon at the end and character return line feed. Like it? And then I'm just going to create a new file change, pass in the name of the file, the start of the old import that we're getting rid of, okay, and the call, okay? It's pretty straightforward. And let's get out of here. And then the last thing I do is I call remove namespace import. I'm just like, you know what, get rid of it. I could have said, you know what, leave it and take it out of this list right here. I could have done that too, but I was just saying, you know what, get rid of it and let's only add the ones we need. And the reason why is because we might be changing the root namespace as well to a different default. Now, having done that, now what's cool about this, okay, let's keep running. Okay, so cars.sports now go into unqualified construction. Boom, there we have the change that we were expecting. Okay. In fact, if anything, we have maybe one extra carriage return, but I'm not going to sweat over that for right now. But now what's cool is if we come over here to consumer and we build, it's totally successful.
Yeah.
Right? Likewise, if we undo, there you can see the old one. And by the way, if you weren't watching yesterday, the only thing I was mentioning is I put comments in front of every single piece that's in there.
That's good.
Okay,
yeah.
couple things. There's one problem that I haven't talked about yet. Let's fix that. Let's also test it on the super complex one. But one of the things is notice when we go into undo, or redo rather, multi-file change. You really want to give that a good name. And Roy, I forgot how to do this, and I think you can. I just rely on you helping me on this.
Yeah, so I do what was it, using text document.new compound action or compound. The IntelliSense is very useful here.
All right. So can I get it out of? I wonder if I can get it out of EA. EA dot. You think it's in text document dot new compound action? And here's my description. And we're going to call
I stick
this
that in a using around everything, and it all syncs up nicely.
Synchronize namespaces. Synchronize namespaces. Maybe we'll just leave it at that. And you want that inside of a using block. Boom. And then take this here. This is the note from yesterday on how we can synchronize all projects in the solution if we wanted to. That's good. Like that. I'm going to put this up here so people can see that. Maybe I'll put it below. Okay, good. So that's one of the things I wanted to fix. And now it looks like that's fixed. Let's run it. And run it. And now we should see synchronized namespaces. So now we can undo that. And we can redo synchronized namespaces as well. Okay, happy with that. All right, let's look at the other problem. And the other problem is over in this area. Notice I've got this my alias is equals a.b1.c. Well, first let's look at everything but that. Let's come in here. We'll execute it again. Synchronize folder name. So just in case you didn't see yesterday's properties for this project, the default namespace is alpha1. Yet everywhere in my root classes, I'm just saying A1. Right? I've got stuff just messed up everywhere in this. I've got A.B's. Sometimes here this should be A.B.C, but I've got A.B2. And then I have references to it over here. Here you can see I've got the references. Whoa, 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 what's going on over here? This may just be CodeRush here. Hold on a second. Oh, no, wait. CodeRush sports. What happened here? Why didn't that? I just undid it. And if I redid it, CodeRush sports up Ferrari, really? Let's drill in and see what's going on here. Let's try one more time. That just really surprised me. So sports, let's come back over here. This is all good. It looks like I got to some sort of partial undo state on that. Oh, wow. So undo from there, but now, oh, I have to undo from the, so wait, it's, you know what I need? I think a global undo is what I need. Because here's what's going on. The multi-file undo gives me one thing, but what I really want is not that. So let's, now I have to remember what it is. And if Skorkin is watching, I'm sure he's going to remember this. But I think I can use IntelliSense to figure it out. Let's try one more time and verify that that's the case. So cars over here, there's a folder name. Yeah, I think this compound action, this may have also messed us up. I think by default we get a global undo, and I think what we need is something else. CodeRush, do I have an undo? Undo stack, what's in there? Do I have a new compound? Nothing. It's not here. Where is it? Get redo get hash. So it's not an undo. No, what is it? Let's see. I want to just see if Skorkin is watching. Looks like he's not watching. Skorkin, I need your help. We did this. Let's see here. Find in files, undo. we did this in a previous webinar, and I'm not remembering it. And
no, I can't either.
I want to go to projects is where I want to go to. Documents, and then Visual Studio 2010, and projects. What's this? Get rid of this one. Oh, because it's that. It's the same. Choose this new. We'll say 2010 projects. We'll call this. Get rid of this. Wait, can I delete that? Or you can delete it. So we just got the projects there. Okay. So now let's look in there and see if we get it. All right, what do we got? Sposomatic. Sposomatic made multi-file changes, didn't it?
Certainly possible.
Oh, wait, but there are a lot of properties here, though. The auto undo is not what we want to look at. I was thinking I wrote it as a comment nearby. Yeah, undo the translation. Oh, I was hoping I'd find it faster than this. So let's see. Sposomatic, no, wait, Sposomatic only made changes in one file. What was we made a big one that made changes in a lot of, it was this one, I think. Object initializer to constructor is what I think it was. And it's let's see if we can open up that. This is the designer CS. I guess I'll open that up because it'll get me at least in the right folder. When it's active, and I'll see file open, file, plug in one. Okay, and let's see. This is bugging me right here.
Mm-hmm.
Bugging you too? There's the apply.
Yeah, it is.
Add code. There it is. That's the call. CodeRush.text buffers, new multi-file compound action. That's what I want.
Ooh.
And then I'm going to put that inside of a user. That's what I'm going to do. All right. So sorry for this.
So that's a more global form, is it, then?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I'm saying that's a more global form.
I believe it is, yeah. I believe it's going to be. So what we want to do is we can just do this. And I think you're going to see it work the way we want it to. I think what's going on here is the new is by setting it up to, well, that's my theory. Let's see if I'm right. Let's see.
Actually, that makes perfect sense, yeah, because we were setting up an undo which was specifically targeted to a single text document, since that's where we got it from in the first place. So it couldn't help but only undo that one piece.
All right, so let's see if this works here. So if I come under here and I say undo, you see it on both sides. If I redo, both sides I come over here, undo at both sides. Okay, so that was the trick. Okay, and my apologies for the lack of discoverability here. We should be severely punished for that. That's yeah. This should be an undo. Can you put a note there too to talk to me about this, Rory?
Sure, yeah.
That this piece right here. I'll IM this over to you so you have that text and you don't have to type it in, and just. So why isn't it sending? My IM is not working to you. I don't know why. All right, I'll send it to you later. But at any rate, right. Yeah. Oh, you did. Okay, good. So okay, so that solves the undo problem right there. The synchronized namespaces. Let's go back and we'll see the other nasty problem that I haven't figured out how to solve yet. Let me undo this. So we're back to that starting point, and that is with this one. Let's first run this and make sure that it works. What? It didn't do anything that time. Why didn't that work?
Did we screw up our undo stack?
Oh, you're right. So undo, or wait, no. Well, yeah, we should have a redo here, shouldn't we? Yeah, I'm not sure why that happened. I've seen that before. Oh, wait, hold on.
I'm wondering if we changed from one type of undo to another whilst we'd already done it but not undone it.
No, I think we're okay. I looked up here, and it was gone from here, but it's over here. And I think it's because this file was not touched in that multi-file undo. That's why we have nothing here. And we have something over here. So our undo redo stack is okay still. But what's interesting to me is that when I choose this, nothing's happening. Let's go back. Maybe we got another exception. Maybe something I'm like not thinking about. Let's go in and we'll say debug exceptions. Click OK. Let's clear that so we have a little more code we can see. And one more time. Synchronizes folder. That one we are just ignoring. Here we go. Object, that's it. What is it? Parent reference is null. Hold on. What's this? Reference A1.B2. Interesting. Oh. Could this be? I have an idea on this. Let's bring up the watch window on this. It's A1.B2. Let's see here. Does it have a no, I was thinking it might have an alias. I think this is maybe the alias is what I'm thinking this is. Let's see what the parent is. B2.class3. So it does not appear to be an alias. And then the type reference expression. So somehow get type reference on this failed. Let's see why that failed. Let's go in here. Let's see what's going on here. Step inside of here. Parent is this. Parent is a type reference expression, and it's a detail node. So we're going up to parent one more. Oh, and now we are.
Okay, that's interesting.
I think I want to do one more. I think I want to change this code. I want to say, and parent dot parent is not null, and the parent type reference dot parent is a type reference expression. Let's do this instead. So what are we at here? So that I want to actually, so let's start back up here. What, return null?
Let's have a look at the type parent type reference.
This question about whether it's a detailed node or not, I think is maybe different depending on where we are actually. I'm sorry, what did you ask? What did you say, Rory?
It looked like you had one type variable being assigned another type entirely. So you've got an a.b2.class3 and just a b.class3. The expression itself, the assignment, I think it was.
Yeah, this is the line of code. So the line of code here is this right here.
Is that valid?
Is this line of code valid?
Yeah, there's no a dot on the right-hand side of that expression.
It is because A is being, I'm pretty sure it is valid. Yeah, the code compiled when I last checked it. So I'm pretty sure this is okay. Because A is being used, and this is being qualified using the import statement, the using statement. So that part is okay. But here's the thing that's interesting. I think that that my assumption about it needing to be a detail node changes depending on where that is. So I think what I'm going to do instead of saying that is it a detail node, and not. So this says we're not. I think I'm going to just assume that we are. I'm going to take this bit out. And I realize I'm not checking I should really be going into the expression lab, but I'm thinking that I'm on a hunch thinking that this is going to work. And so we'll go in here. So there's a return on that. And the other thing though is we did have a problem. Get the declaration we do to class 3. Okay, so I think I'm okay there, but should I solve the problem? You know what? I'll go ahead and keep running, and because we've got that break on exceptions thing going on here. Okay, let's turn it off. So now we're inside Microsoft Visual Studio Language Service, so that's like the only one that had that on for a little bit there. Okay, so back over into, well, we're still debugging, let's run it. Okay, so now we have
so that's
what we're expecting. Good. So if we compile and we build our consumer project right here, I guess I just build all. Let's just build everything. We have a problem. And the problem is in this line of code here, my alias, it doesn't get it. And look what happened. We took out this right here. Okay, because this came in as it matched our check, right? We got a reference to the namespace, and then we asked, are you an imports clause? And it said, yes, you're an imports clause, meaning you're this, but also this is also returns true. And so we killed it. So that is the last piece that I think we have to fix. Let me undo.
Sure.
Can I undo from here? No. Where did I start this thing from? No, I have to go back over here. Can I undo? No, I don't have the undo. All right, so this is weird to me. I've seen this a couple times, and I'm not sure what's causing this. I wonder if it has to do with the exception that we saw. Because we're doing edit continue, we saw the exception. So I'm going to go back to my my saved source, and I'm going to put it back out over here again. And then we'll lose those recent changes we made. We'll lose that for our wheel count piece. But at least we get back to this starting point right here. And okay, so let's fix this piece. Let's first start by looking at that using Expressions Lab. Because I want to see what the difference is between this and this. So if I'm clicking here, I'm on an element reference expression. I can go up. I can go up. Well, here, this is not the parent. That's the parent. So here, notice I'm on a namespace reference. Notice this property, isAlias is true.
Yeah.
That's for this. Go here, isAlias is false. That's the difference.
Fair enough. There's a nice distinguishing feature.
So if it's an isAlias, then we want to just deal with this like it's a normal reference. So let's go back to the code and see if we can figure out where to put that code to fix this. So let's see. Import is not null. This is where we find that we're in a namespace piece right here.
Yeah.
If we're else, we say if reference is this. So what I want to do, I think, is simply, I think it's going to be a very simple fix. Let's see if it is. Let's go back over to class 3, come back in here, synchronize the folder names, and then I want to say if it's not null, and import dot isAlias equals false. Then we go in here. Otherwise, we're just going to work with reference like we normally would. And I think it's just going to magically all work.
So does that mean that if there's an alias there, it's just going to leave it alone exactly as it is?
No, it doesn't mean that, because it drops into the second. If this is an alias, if it's an alias, this is not satisfied, which means it goes into this else clause, checking the reference, right, which is we already got up above here, the reference to the namespace.
Gotcha.
Check to see if it's a type reference expression or it's this and it handles it normally, which I think is all going to work. Well, let's see.
Okay.
Now that I've said that, let's do a build all. And, oh, what? It didn't make any changes over here. Hold on, I think this may be a parsing thing because we loaded, hold on, so where's unqualified construction? And let's go back over here, let's undo. So the alias part looked like it worked right there in class 1. Over here, though, let me just do this. I'm just going to select everything, put it back. I think that there is a problem with our parser when we make changes and reload. I think there's something going on there. Note to devs at this point, Roy, that that we saw what looked like it was having trouble finding the namespaces. Now I just did tap the next reference. Now it works. Let's see if it works now. I think it's going to work now. Alpha 1, unqualified construction. There you go. Look at that. So look at this. Those comments were before all the other old ones. We've gotten rid of all of those, and we've simply added only what we need.
Okay.
Okay? And now if I do a build, oh, so, seriously? The qualified construction is not getting, it's not finding qualified construction. Why is that?
So are we, hang on, have we engineered another exception?
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me undo. I don't think it's an exception. I think it's the same problem here that was over in the other one. I think if I simply close the solution and reload it, because this file is open and I did the, I brought the new stuff in, I think our parser was like, huh? What? On that, and I think that's a bug that we have to look at and fix. Reloading, bringing files in, I think under certain scenarios, the parser doesn't work. Let's try one more time, and I almost want to say it's going to work this time. All right, so namespace A, come in here, synchronize the folder names. Let's go to unqualified construction. Let's go to qualified construction. Oh, it still failed. So something's wrong with qualified construction that is causing it to fail. We'll undo it. Uh-oh. That's not a good sign. Okay. It was really, so we have some corruption here. So I'm going to have the devs look at this too and see maybe there's a problem in what the code that I've got. Let's do this. Let's close this down one more time. We'll come back in, and I'm going to just go from a fresh start on the on all the files. Reload those in. All right. Reopen that. Okay. So we're going to have to sit through the code to see what's wrong with qualified construction. There. I want to see this. So I just executed the Visual Studio command to drill into, and it looks like we're hung up here. And I have this right here, so let's, well, I guess I'll hit restart, cancel. We'll come back over here and we'll try one more time on this. Yeah, you know, my sense, Rory, is that once we have this in and we stop, my sense is that the problems, the Visual Studio's buffer got into a state that, and it's a theory, right? But so, yeah. You know, whatever this may sound like, you know, best spin, whatever, but I think that this is a possibility. The possibility is that doing the edit and continue, doing the multiple passes, you know, dealing with the exceptions going in, going back and handling them, maybe was related to Visual Studio getting in that state. And that once we're done with this process and we compile, that we'll be unable to reproduce the corruption.
Sure, yeah.
So that's my best spin on that. And then of course the worst case scenario is there's some bug that we have to go track down and find. But I'll have the devs look at this and we'll see what we can find. So so let's see, qualified construction. Let's open this up in its own window here. Let's go over here, +3. Let's just verify we still have the bug. We don't anymore.
There we go.
So yeah, I think that the text buffers got into a state that was not so good, and I think it's because of all the edit and continue. I have a feeling that now we can do this as many times as we try to repeat and go forward, you know, undo and redo. I think that we aren't going to see this again. So
sure, yeah.
See that work.
It's looking good.
Unqualified production. Let's move this up to.
Got all our usings in place. This is good.
Undo, and you know, let's open up. Which is the one that's got all the big. The reference in it is it class 1? If it's there we go, class 1. So come in here, synchronize the folder names, boom. Let's do a build. Build succeeded.
Everything good.
And that's it. This is awesome.
That's a feature.
Yes, it's a feature. And you know what's cool about this? Let me tell you what's cool about this, Rory. Because you may be like, wait a second. Well, how you know? Do I really use?
How can you not think this is cool? This is excellent.
Okay. All right. So here's what makes it cool. Let's say we come in here. Have you ever done this before, where you've gone and you said, oh, my default namespace, I want to change it to supercars, right, or something like that, right? You go in and you change your default namespace. We haven't tried this scenario, so there could be a bug. Bear with me. Let's go back over into Ferrari, and we'll come up here, and we're going to say, synchronize the folder names, and let's scroll so we can see. There's cars right there. Let's scroll in here so we can see there's cars. And now what we should see is actually I want in automobile, Well, let's just watch it. So supercars is now there. If we go into automobile,
Oh,
wait.
Mark. Ooh, that one there. Yeah. Right.
Is this funny or not? Let's go over here. Automobile factory did change. We did change here. We didn't catch these two. So there's a small problem in the code. But what I'm going to do, Rory, is I'm going to say, you know what? We've been going for an hour and a half. I'm going to find this bug. I'm going to end it now. I'm going to find this bug and fix it, and then we're going to submit it and say we're done. This bug, I think, is an easy bug to fix. I think it's just I think it's like just look in and I say easy. I think it's going to take a while to find the spot. Once I find it, it's going to be one line of code that's going to fix this bug.
Okay.
And we'll do it. So hey, wait. I'm going to see. Let's just double check. I want to see what happens when to my using pieces up here. Do these get fixed? They do. So this gets fixed. It's only this piece that we're not finding and fixing. So I will fix that, and we'll get that, and we'll nail that, and we'll ship it. Are you okay with that, Rory? Or are you like, or are the people watching?
I'm pretty good with that. Yeah. The only thing that springs to mind is the VB issue.
Scenario. I haven't tested that. Let me see what
I can have a look at that. That's cool.
I was just going to say, let me see. I've got a to-do in here. It says, oh, it's assigned to you, Rory. So I would have done that. But my to-do says, thanks, Rory. You are awesome. Okay, so Rory, you're going to look at that, and I think that's going to be, by the way, the question on that is it has to do with...
I think that's really easy. I think we just don't put the default namespace and the period in if it's VB. That's it.
Okay, or maybe it goes like this. I think the line of code is going to look like this. We'll close down the running instance. If that's null, then say the default namespace is equal to project.root namespace. I think this might be the code.
But the thing is, in VB, we don't put that in our code. It's done by the compiler.
Oh, right. Well, then that is going to be here.
That's the highlighted portion there, plus the period. And if you're VB.net, eliminate that bit. Yeah.
You'll take that line of code out, and so
I reckon that does it.
I think it's going to be something like this: if file dot project dot language equals basic. I hate doing these kinds of tests because you're actually hard coding it to VB. But what we really want is something if file dot, we want to do something really ideally like this.
Well, don't test default namespace to see if it's string empty, because it will be in the case of VBNet.
Oh, it will be? Oh,
yeah,
I see. So
because we have root namespace instead.
Okay, then we'll have a check to starts with here. But you're going to check this and verify this works. So I'll send you the sync test project, the one we've been testing with, and then what you should do is port that whole project to VB so you have the same test in VB. All right?
Okay.
And so we'll do that, kids. We will, and we'll get this up hopefully today. I'll fix the bug in a few minutes. Rory will then get the code. We'll tweet. We'll put it on Twitter when the source code is up. And for folks watching this in a recorded state, go to the community plugin site and download it. And this is probably going to be a feature that finds its way into CodeRush 11.2. So if you're watching this and you have 11.2 or greater, then you've already got it. And with that, Amanda, we're winding down. Time to turn on your microphone and get us out of here in a professional manner.
Yeehaw! How's that for professional?
That's
I try to give you lots of warning. I say Amanda, and then I give a long sentence afterwards, so you can rush over, turn on your microphone, stop playing asteroids or whatever it is you're doing over there, and get us out. Get us out of here, Amanda. Thanks, by the way.
Awesome. All right, everybody. If you've got a feature idea for CodeRush or Visual Studio, you can submit it to roryb@devexpress.com, or tweet it, including #CodeRush in your suggestion. Next week, Mark and Rory are both on vacation, but we will be back with CodeRush Feature Wednesdays, August 10th. All right, so we have a whole lineup of webinars that are posted throughout September. We have amazing guest presenters and, of course, our DevExpress product training, so check them out and register at devexpress.com/webinars. And a quick peek into next week, Tuesday, August 2nd At 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Julian on JavaScript using jQuery with DevExpress ASP.NET Controls, Part 2. Julian and Mehul return to delve even deeper into the intricacies and gotchas of using jQuery to produce a more immersive client-side experience for your end users. This time, they explore more of the possible interactions with ASPX Grid View. And then Thursday, August 4th, Pivot Grid user customizations with Analytics Evangelist Woody Pewitt. In this webinar, Woody will explore many of the options that end users have available to them to control the data display and aggregation. He'll also look at ways to save the end user settings so they don't have to reset up the display. And again, if you missed anything from this webinar, you want to review any previous webinars, visit us on the DevExpress channel at tv.devexpress.com. Again, thanks so much to Mark and Rory. Thank you all for joining us, and thanks for choosing DevExpress.